The No Fade channel, checking in. And after 4 years of use, I thought it was finally time to do an honest review of this BowFlex adjustable bench. We're going to go over the cost, the assembly, the pros, the cons, what I've liked about it, what I have not liked about it, and where it's breaking down. Most importantly, we're going to discuss if this bench is right for your home gym. If this is your first time to the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. On this Dad's Home Gym series, I simply review a piece of home gym equipment, gym accessory on every episode to help you decide if it's right for your fitness routine, your fitness goals, your home gym, and most importantly, if it is right for your hard-earned money. So at the time I'm shooting this, you know where we are at. It is the crazy year 2020. Hopefully, if you're watching this in the future, you get a good laugh out of it and we're out of this thing. But gym equipment, especially home gym equipment, is scarce. It's out of stock. Prices have been astronomical. And even the used market has lost its mind, charging more than what you would have to pay for this thing brand new. I know a lot of people, because they don't want to go back to their local gym or because their local gyms might be closed, whether temporarily or permanently, have been building out their home gyms en masse, and that is largely why there's such a large demand. So if you go online and you kind of search for home gym adjustable benches, you're probably going to get a couple hundred responses, whether it's on Amazon, Walmart, or across the board, and they all look relatively good. I mean, obviously the marketing does a very good job to kind of sell you on all the pros, and it's really hard to see the forest from the trees on any of the potential cons with regards to a home gym. So that's why I'm doing this review on this BowFlex adjustable bench. So I bought this for $150. We're going to get right into price because, you know, if you've watched this channel before, I am a cheapskate. I bought this for $150 over 4 years ago, and I will tell you right now, the prices vary. I've seen this thing still for $150 on some days, and I have seen it for even more, up to $200, if not more, depending on the supply, whether it's Amazon or the place that I've looked for this thing. So I'm going to put an Amazon affiliate link in the description of this video, and I'm going to put the price point right now, what it is at the time that I edit this video, because it changes daily. So I would say if you're interested in this bench, click on that affiliate link and see what the price point is. And if it's over, let's say $175, I might say wait, just wait for it to come down a little bit, because again, it does fluctuate even day to day. In terms of assembly, obviously I assembled this thing, let's say 4 years ago, so it's kind of hard to determine how long it took. If memory serves, it took about 90 minutes. A couple key things that I would mention when you assemble this is to give yourself plenty of space. Make sure you are on a flat surface. That's going to make things a lot easier. Oftentimes, like with this basement gym, it's relatively flat, but there is a slope to it. So make sure you're on a flat surface. Make sure you give yourself enough time. You're going to want some wrenches. It comes with Allen wrenches to tighten stuff up, but you're going to really want a set of home open-end wrenches to kind of make sure that you can snug it up. And the last tip I can probably give you, besides to read the instructions carefully and take your time, is to wait until the very end to tighten everything down. Overall, the assembly wasn't too bad. The box that this thing came with had most of the major pieces pre-assembled. Let's talk about the padding, what I think about this padding for benching and overall use, and how well it's held up. First and foremost, the padding is pretty good. Overall, for the price point, the padding is what I expected. It's not too thin. It's very stable. It's probably got a little bit more cushion than I would even like for a bench, but overall, it is held up miraculously well. I have really not treated this well with regards to putting interchangeable dumbbells on it, like resting kettlebells on it, stuff like that. And the only nick, the only even scratch is this little mark right here. And I couldn't even tell you where that came from. I will say there's no scratching, there's no tearing of the seams. And overall, this is almost as good as the day that I actually first got it. So the padding itself is held up very, very well. Personally, I wish there was a little bit denser of padding. You can see there's some give here. There's a little bit more of a rise towards the leg section than the bum section. And I would say even in here, there's a little bit more give. And again, it's really good. I like it, but in terms, especially for the price point, but in terms of probably some of the best benches I've used, clearly this $150 bench isn't going to be it. But I have been very impressed with how the stitching and how the fabric itself has held up. One of the things that I have added for benching is these like rubber bands around the top and the sides, because as you can probably hear from the way my hand moves across it, it's pretty slippery. Not so slippery that you're going to slide off, but for many of you who like to bench, you really like to press into the pad, so you kind of don't want that slipperiness as much. I will say it's got a nice feel to it. It's easy to use, but again, I just put those 2 rubber bands because it's more personal preference with regards to how slippery I like it when I bench or incline dumbbell press or even flat dumbbell press. One of the cons with regards to this bench, and I think that's something that you should notice, but I don't necessarily think it should be a deal breaker, is that this bench doesn't lift. So this portion is always going to be a flat bench, which if you keep the bench flat or if you have the bench at 90 degrees, not a problem. However, if you're doing incline anything, dumbbell press, chest press, bicep curls, if you're not careful, you are going to have a tendency to slide down the bench. You're not going to slide off the bench entirely, and if you have a good footing, it's not going to really impact you very, very much. But if you're going super heavy and you're driving out those last few reps, you're going to notice the fact that this is not going to be angled to help keep you onto the mat. Another thing to be mindful of, and I might put this in the cons category, but not necessarily a deal breaker, is this gap. There is a substantial gap between the backrest and the bum rest, and I would say for most of you, if you line yourself up correctly or after a few weeks worth of use, you're not going to notice it. However, there are a couple of exercises that I still notice it if I don't sit correctly or don't line myself up before. If I just kind of throw myself onto this bench and my back hits this gap in a weird way, I will notice that it makes for the exercise to be awkward. So this BowFlex adjustable bench has 3 positions. Obviously, it's got this 180 degrees flat bench. You can lift this up right here, slide it into this slot, and now you have an inclined bench. As I mentioned, because this doesn't lift up, if you're going super heavy and you don't have good contact with the floor or your feet are slippery, you are going to tend to slide off slightly. It's not going to be like a slip and slide, but you are going to notice it just a bit. And then for overhead press or any of your other 90 degree settings, you've got this right here straight up and down. So 3 settings, and while other benches may have like 5 or 6, I would argue these 3 are going to hit 99% of all the angles you're going to want. Overall, with regards to where this thing has really kind of taken its toll in terms of potentially starting to fail, and not failing, but just starting to fail, is these end caps. So these end caps are rubber, and they just sit on the end of this piece of metal to lock it in place. As you can see, what I will say is that these end caps have kind of taken a beating over the 4 years of use, and they come off quite easily. Now, can I glue these down? Yes, and that's probably my next step, is to clean them up and glue them down. But even if you feel the rubber, you can feel this rubber is getting to be a bit brittle. But again, we've already got 4 years of use out of it, and there's probably maybe another 4 before these things are unusable entirely. And probably even without them, it would still work. It's just not going to sit probably as comfortably. Now, speaking of sitting comfortably, how good is this bench with respect to support? I will say there is a slight give on this bench. Very slight and very minimal. And if you set it up on a flat surface, perfectly flat, you're not going to notice it. I will say you notice that give slightly more, pardon the pun, if you are on a slight curve. So there's a couple of spots on this floor where it curves a little bit, and if I'm not careful with where I pick it up, I can notice there's just a little bit more rocking with respect to the bench overall. But once you do sit down on it, that rocking goes away because your weight then kind of supports it. As far as the construction, as far as the give, it's pretty good for that $150 mark that I paid for it. And frankly, I haven't even bothered to kind of come in and retighten some of these bolts here that might make it even more sturdy in terms of the give. But hopefully you can see this. There's almost no give whatsoever, and I'm really trying to force it there. Overall, I think this is going to be an excellent bench for the average or moderate weightlifter that's setting up a home gym and looking for a bench to use, whether it's for bench pressing, whether it's for incline press, overhead press, biceps, or just overall to have something in your home just to kind of add some variety to the current workout that you are putting in. At that $150 mark, great product for how well it has held up. From what I've seen on some of the other products that are at this price point, this is going to be one of the better benches, at least in my opinion, and I am a little biased because I have been using it for 4 years. Now, clearly there are better benches out there, but now we're talking that 300, if some of them are even like 500 when you factor in shipping. I was a big fan of this one because I was able to get it on Amazon, and you still can. And of course, not only do you get that free shipping with Amazon and relatively fast in today's day and age, but you also get the security of having that easy 30-day return window with Amazon, because Amazon just doesn't ask any questions with regards to the returns, or very, very little questions. So if you get it home and you don't like it, or something's wrong with it, or one of the pieces is wrong, you at least know you're not going to have to fight customer no service with some company that might be inundated with thousands and thousands of emails daily. You just go to Amazon and you can hit that return button. Hey, listen, if you came this far in the video, click on the affiliate link in the description below, just for giggles, for S's and giggles, to see what this is being priced at. I've seen this thing, as I mentioned, range so much because of the availability, because of the demand. Hopefully you can find this thing less than $150, and if that case, I would definitely say snatch it up. It is going to be probably perfect for most people. Now, who isn't this right for? Let's talk about who isn't this right for. If you are benching 300 plus pounds, if you are doing powerlifting, if you are training for the CrossFit Open, this is probably not going to be advanced enough for you, just because of the shape of the bench, because of the amount of gap here. It's not going to be perfect for you. But most of us are not powerlifters. Most of us aren't going to be in the CrossFit Games, and most of us aren't benching more than 300 pounds. So I think, 95% of the people watching this video, this is going to be ideal, especially if you are on a budget. And I don't know many people who aren't on a budget. Hey, if you got any questions regarding this BowFlex adjustable bench, drop it in the comments below and I will get them answered as quickly as I can. If you came this far in the video, do me a huge favor, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps me out and I do appreciate it. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you be a great parent to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I provide ideas and insights to help you save time, money, and your sanity. 3 things that are in short supply for every parent out there.